you had an issue with me doing the interview with Ayanna Jackson.
Ayanna Jackson.
That was the Tupac rape accuser.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and why is that?
Just because I know that that's not what Tupac said before he passed, you know what I mean? And at the time, I just see how when this guy could take his trash out, 10 or 15 girls is there, so I just couldn't possibly think of in my mind why he would be blamed with, raping her. And why that story would be just told over and over and over again, and that ain't fair. I mean, that's what I was saying.
Well, I mean, he got to tell his story while he was alive. He talked about that situation multiple times. Mm-hmm. She had never done an interview before on camera.
Right.
So we felt that, she had the right to tell her side of the story. And to be fair, when I talked to Man, who was Tupac's co-defendant in that case, after he had watched the whole thing, he said more or less what she said was pretty much what happened. There were a few things that were not quite right, but overall, it happened pretty much how she said it. And what makes it interesting as well is that, when she, the story she told when they were together, he left the room and a couple other guys came in and had sex with her. When she afterwards, when she was all upset, and started accusing him of letting it happen, instead of him saying, get this bitch out of here, if he had just calmed her down and said, hey, I'm sorry, hold on, let's go talk. Man told me none of that would have happened. None of the arrests or anything else like that would have happened if he had just calmed her down instead of saying, get this bitch out of here. And, you and I are old enough to realize that you do not let a woman storm out of your room angry. That is always going to be a recipe for disaster on some level.
Definitely.
But, Pac is what, 20-something years old?
That's what I was about to say. It's at that time, I don't know. What was I? 10, 12? I don't know. I was a kid. So, I definitely didn't know Tupac at that time. But from his story telling me, of what happened, because I asked, it was basically that, when it was time for him to, and this is, don't quote me on this. I'm just saying, somebody that he liked, he sent the car for her. That's somebody that he respect. He, do whatever they do and go to sleep. He wake up, she done hit everybody else in the room, and now she want to kiss and toot bro, are you kidding me? You just top this dude off and you trying to come kiss me. Get her out of here. So that sounds a little bit more around the story to me, you know what I mean? And
yeah, and that's maybe what happened, But you also look at it a 2021 lens when anything even remotely like that is a big deal. If this had happened in 2021, Pac would have definitely been the villain.
Definitely.
In this case.
Definitely.
As opposed to, the early 90s.
Definitely.
At the end of the day, I just felt like she had a right to tell her story.
You're right.
And if you look at the interview, there was a few times where I kind of caught her not quite telling the right story, and I had to throw in some facts. And, people could watch it now and they could decide for themselves. They could say, I believe her or I don't believe her.
Can I say this? I had, as watching that video, and as of all your videos, I'm a fan at that moment. So when I comment, it's totally my opinion as the rest of the fucking 50,000 people. It's just maybe that minds may jump out more, but at the same time, it's it's either one side of the story or the other, and I'm picking the Tupac side.
There you go. As you should. You knew him. I didn't.
With respect to Ayanna and her kids, her family, and all the women out there, I got to ride with my boy.
There you go. Now, at one point, you're also affiliated with Yukmouth.
Yep.
And the regime. It
Still.
seemed like there were some kind of bumps along the road.
Always bumps with men. You know what I mean? And I'm going to tell you, bro, most of these guys be along for the ride. You know what I mean? And things will happen and they don't say shit. They'll just let the shit happen. A snowball will turn into an avalanche. And now they don't know how to control it. Me personally, I like to address shit when it could be talked about, and sometimes people don't want to talk and defend, whatever they're doing, and then it's a problem that's, could be discussed and squashed.
Yeah, I mean, I know Yukmouth. Last I checked, we were cool, but there were a couple of times when, I heard him say something crazy, and we would get on the phone, we would work it out, or sometimes he would say something crazy, and I'd ignore it, and but I've had him on my show before. I'm a fan, but Yukmouth is Yukmouth, so
that's what I was about to say. That's my bro,
yeah.
But he's unpredictable. In terms of just like any other man, I don't know what the hell gonna come out his mouth, but
Right.
I gotta ride with him because he's my bro.
There you go.
You know how that shit go.
Now, I guess in October, you stopped drinking.
I did.
What led up to that? Because have you been a heavy drinker your whole life?
Nah. I just started hitting the bottle hard after I started going to DC about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Niggas is drinkers out there, you know what I mean? So I was doing a lot of hustling in that area, or, just back and forth around that area. And a lot of people are on paper out there, so they don't really smoke a lot of weed. Niggas will smoke sherm and drink. So, just being around that crowd, I started drinking a lot more. And it ended up giving me some health problems, you know what I'm saying, with my gut. So I had to stop. And
Okay.
It was the best move I made in my life.
And was that around the time you got more religious as well?
Definitely. Yep. Because, man, that shit almost killed me, Vlad. I almost checked up out this motherfucker. We don't talk about it, but that shit was a bad experience to where, I had to find God and just center myself for my son, you know what I mean?
So what, you ended up in the hospital?
The whole nine. I almost died.
From what?
Literally.
Alcohol poisoning or?
Nah, I ripped the lining in my stomach. So, you know what I mean? It was a bad situation.
Just from drinking?
Just from drinking.
Okay.
I mean, of course, cocaine too. But if you drinking hella, you're going to want to chase it with a toot or two to come back off the, you know what I mean? That's some Hollywood shit, man.
Okay. And from years of doing that, it eventually caught up to you.
Years of doing that, years of just partying, that shit will catch up to you. You know what I'm saying? Niggas will check out of here. And motherfuckers I don't know how he died. Nigga, you know.
I mean, unfortunately, when you see someone dying in their 40s or 50s, most times it's drug related.
Right.
Most times.
Right.
I'm not going to say every time, but most times.
Real shit.
Yeah. And
Real
I
shit.
mean, especially talking about cocaine, that's a hard one right there. I had one of my really close friends overdose and die at 23, which made me say, I'm never going to try this. And at 47, I've kept that going.
Man, good for you.
Yeah. But it was just luck. I mean, had I not gone through that, I'd been around people that offered me cocaine. I would have probably.
I know you have.
I would have probably tried it. Had I not been at that funeral and saying, this is what happens at 23? Word? Oh, okay, never mind.
Right.
This is clearly not.
Yeah, that shit.
This ain't weed.
And it's nothing to play with. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing to play with. And it comes along with a lot of mental illness, bro. That shit is a mental illness, and it has to come with depression and low anxiety, just low self-esteem, just a lot of things that come with when you want to just put drugs in your body every day.
Well, not to mention how expensive it is.
That
and what you sometimes have to do in order to do that. I mean, cocaine is not a poor man's drug. Right?
Right. Motherfucker out there sucking a dick or two.
Right.
Oh, shit.
Woo, I'm going to leave that one alone. All right.